Today we're going to talk about the edit mode of Zoho views. Earlier we talked about the features and the functions that are available to a user when they're looking at the view. Now we're going to show the more powerful features that are built into the edit mode. As you remember, in the live mode of the view, you can click on a column heading, and you can sort or group or search or hide that column. You have similar features within the edit mode, but a little more powerful. So let me go into the edit the application. And first we get the display mode, the preview mode. And here I can rearrange the fields that I want that are shown on the screen. So perhaps I want to have the start date in front of the project title. Maybe I want the email in front of the phone number. This is the email for the company. This is the phone number for the company. And this is who it's assigned to, which I'm going to leave as in that location. All right, so that's all it takes to rearrange your columns. Okay. Now, display properties. This shows the various ways the information can be shown on the screen. Normally, we use a simple list, a spreadsheet view. The grid view is a little different, and let me just show you how that looks. Now we'll go into the application, and you see the information is spread out, a lot of space between each one, so you see less information on a screen, less number of records, but it's sometimes easier to view the information in this this particular format. Let me go back to well, I can also view this just to show you how this can look. I can also show you the summary view from this level, and this is more of a page at a time. So here you see one record as a whole block on the left, another record on the right. You obviously can see a lot more detail per record, but you have to do a lot of scrolling to see the information. So in most cases, the list view is the most efficient way of looking at the information. Okay, so let me go back into edit the application. Okay, and we're going to make sure we're set for the list view, and we want to have 200 records per page. That's what I normally use, just because it's best to see as much as you can. All right, let me go into the column properties, and this is where you get to it shows all of the fields that are on the form that are used to enter the information, and then on the right side here is the column heading, and Zoho automatically puts them to be the same, but you might say, gee, I don't need company phone number, that's too wide of a name, so I'll just erase the number part. Company phone, perfectly understandable, and we save some left-right screen space. Okay, so that's the basics of working with the fields. You can uncheck any field if you don't want to see that field on your view. Perhaps we don't want to show the email. We don't want people emailing back and forth too much. So if we hide that, then it's less likely they'll be emailing back to the company in this particular application. All right. And let me turn this off for a second just so you can see what it does when we turn it back on. Okay, so let me go to Done. And we'll come back here. And you can see that the field that I hid, the email address, no longer shows. Now, one of the things about hiding fields, there's actually two ways that's done. One in the edit mode, and then it's hidden permanently. The user has no access to that information at all. And of course, any confidential information, that's what you want to do. But with this button over here, they can choose to show or hide various columns at this particular moment. So maybe right now I don't really need to see the descriptions. So I click on Done. You'll see the description column will disappear. Okay? But that's just for this session. Maybe I had too many fields here and I was scrolling left and right too much, and there's some fields that I don't need to do the work I'm working on right now. So I've hidden that field, and you'll see there's an asterisk here which indicates that I've changed this view from its normal format. And I can reset the changes. If I do that, it comes right back. There's my description again, and my little asterisk is gone. So, there's a lot of power in the live mode, and of course, in the edit mode, you can be more restrictive. So, if you hide something in the edit mode, the user has no access to it at all. If you show a field, then they can choose to hide it or see it, depending on the needs at that moment. Okay, so now I've turned this link back on, and I want to show you what this can do within the related table. Because as you recall, in this application, we've got the project being assigned to an individual employee. And I'll go back to access this application. And you can see this is in a bluish text, and it's a hyperlink. If I click on it, I'll get the information about that employee. So there's a name, there's the email, the phone number, the hire date, the full, status of full-time, and this person is a Zoho creator developer. Okay, so that's very useful because you don't have to take up extra screen space, but you can still get to those details. Now it could be that, gee, we don't really want everyone to be seeing the hire date of the employee, or that they're full-time or part-time. That's private information. They just need the contact information. So I'll come back to the edit mode, and under column properties, earlier I've created a separate view of the employee information with limited information. So if I've turned on the link, I can choose which view to actually use. So if I go with the limited, and I click done, and I come back to the application, now when I click on the name, I don't see the hire date. I don't see whether they're full-time or part-time. I just see what's included in that view. So that gives you a lot of power. And like I said, you're not taking up a lot of screen space, but I am going to show you how to do that as well. All right, so let's go back into the application, column properties, and because this is a related table, I can look at my related fields. So let's say I want to do phone and email, and I do want to make sure I don't confuse the email with the company email. Okay, so so I've changed the display name for those two columns. I'll click on done, and it takes me back to my preview, and you can see I've got the employee email, employee phone right here, and I've got this description in the middle. So here's the assigned to, employee name, here's the email, here's the phone. Description is actually part of the project, so let's just rearrange that. Okay, and if I come back here into live mode, you can see, okay, it's assigned to, here's that employee's email, here's the employee's phone number. So there's a number of ways I can show the related information. I like the ability to click on it and show the details here because it's not taking up too many columns. But in this particular application, because it's not very complex, I still have lots of left-right space, so it's okay to put these here. If I've run out of left-right space, this becomes a very useful feature. Okay, so let's go back into edit mode. Okay. And we'll look at criteria. And here we can restrict records based on various pieces of information. For example, if we choose start date, Zoho knows it's a date, so it gives us date choices. I can say, I could pick a specific date, or I can come in and say the last 30 days. I just want to see the projects that have started in the last 30 days, and that's all I care about. Of course, the problem with that is if there was a project 31 days ago, well, I can't see it. So this is something you use this kind of with a lot of thought behind it, because with the Zoho searchability, you can say, well, gee, I'll let the user see all records, and then they can say, I just want to see the last 30 days or the last 60 days, or maybe it's the next 30 days, next 60 days. That gives them the ability to choose what they want to look at without it being permanently restricted. Because once again, in edit mode, when you set something like I just want to see records for the last 30 days, the user has no other choice. That's all that will be displayed. So use it sparingly. There are cases where it's absolutely necessary, but in many cases you want the user to have more flexibility. So I'll just cancel that. Okay. All right. Now filters, and I already have two set up here, and these are just easier ways to filter the view. And let's just go in and look at the application. and you'll see how these work. It's actually quite nice. So here's my filters, and I'm filtering by date and or assigned to, and I can choose as many of these as I like. So right now I've told it I'm using one filter of just July, and it shows me that right here, and these are all my July projects. All right, and I can also say I want my August projects as well. So now I'm looking at two different sets, and I have 46 records. Now I might want to see just John Smith's projects. So here are the projects with a start date of July or August assigned to John, and there's 10 of those records. Maybe I don't want the July ones to show. Okay, now it's just the August ones. So I have a lot of flexibility with these filters, and I can clear all and go back to my regular view. Okay. All right, so those are the filters, and you can build your own filters, but the ones that Zoho builds for you automatically are based on any drop-down list or radio buttons, things that have specific choices. It won't build one automatically for text fields, but you can do that your own by building a custom filter. All right, let's go into set grouping, and I'm going to group this by assigned to. And grouping can be very useful. Okay. And here you'll see that the assigned to, which used to be a separate column over here, now shows as a heading. And once again, it frees up some valuable left-right space and gives you a very easy way to see what's happening. So, here we have all of Herb Wexler's projects, and then here's all of John Smith's projects, and they're nicely grouped together. All right, let's go back into the edit mode. And sorting is something that you really need to put in there, otherwise your information will show randomly. So right now I've got it sorted by project title, and perhaps I want to do start date above that. Okay, so now that I have start date, it'll show any projects that have the same start date. They'll show alphabetically underneath the start date. Now the start date, I might want to put that as descending, which puts the newest date first, and then the older dates below that. So you definitely want to, when you're doing your sorting, you want to make sure the last field makes it unique. If I just have start date without the project title, I know there's several projects that start on the same day. They're going to be listed randomly. Makes it hard to find. So you always want to make sure you've got you keep adding enough fields here until it becomes unique, and then once you've hit that, nothing else makes any difference. So if let's say I had company name underneath that, it won't make any difference because project title has to be a unique field. So putting company name below that doesn't increase or doesn't change how the records are sorted. So I'll remove that. Okay. Now permissions is something that's also very useful. We need to specify whether people can add records, edit records, or delete records. And you have to think that through of what the user is actually going to be doing. In this case, I'll allow them to do everything. Okay, so those are the basics. There's more features in here, but those are the basics of what you'll be doing within the edit mode. So I hope you find this information useful, and I hope I can be of value to you. So thank you very much.